Problem is up here, not down there. I have faith that most of you, once you have an opportunity, someone says, I am selling my house, I have faith that you have a pretty decent opportunity, presentation, what to do, how you do it to help them sell the home. That's not the problem at all. The problem is, as real estate professionals, our high value services that we wanted to create appointments was just totally a disaster. Our marketing is more kind of what I would refer to, unfortunately, as sales Tourette's. It's kind of screaming, it's yelling, it's look at me, hey, anyone interested, hot? No. And I was like, the truth is we actually have incredibly high value services. I identified the two most important ones that we need to develop. And I put it into a framework of what is called top of the funnel. And so top of the funnel, buyer services, what are they? Top of the funnel, homeowner, seller services, what are they? And we have learned over the years that there's two top of the funnel services. Number one, on the buy side, everyone in the world is interested in looking at homes for sale. Do any of you know someone who's not interested in casually, aspirationally, for fun, looking at homes for sale? Everybody loves it. This is like the American pastime, looking at homes for sale. And there's been big confusion in our industry where we thought that someone who was interested in looking at homes for sale meant that they were actually a lead. And that is not true. One of the things I realized was that looking at homes for sale is very aspirational. And as a group, we are not very inviting to people who are aspirational because we're so selfishly looking for our next lead. So we're kind of mean to aspirational lookers, like we're annoyed by them. And unfortunately, a lot of us, we get these aspirational lookers. Let's say that we run a Facebook ad, we run a pay-per-click ad, homes for sale in, and someone clicks that and we end up kind of hoodwinking them in to getting their information. And we're like, I was really cool, I got a lead. No, you didn't. It's like a 15-year-old who just happened to be looking and just typed, and next thing you know, they clicked, and next thing you know, we have a lead in our CRM, and it was some 15-year-old or some random. That's not a lead. And so one of the things that I had to realize was, wow, real estate's very aspirational. And we need to understand that, yes, we want to invite as many people in as possible to look, but we also need to now move them down into this next level of relationship. So relationship one is enjoy looking. Relationship two is now what's called the research phase. So there's the aspirational phase, and then there's the research phase. So my friends, what is your offer to those that are in the research phase of buying a home? In the research phase, unfortunately, this annoys us as real estate agents because what do we want? I want someone pre-qualified and ready and willing and able to write a contract tonight. Spoken words from my great father, Mike Ferry. So there's what you want, and then there's what the consumer is looking for. And if we can get off of our own what we want and get into how could we actually provide a great service and value to the research phase home buyers and invite them into a relationship with us. And then we can then move them down into what's called the third phase, which is the transactional phase. What we have not done really well as a group is we've not really crafted our offer to just aspirational lookers and made sure that they had a good experience. And then we haven't really crafted an amazing offer to those that are in the research phase to make sure that they establish a good relationship with us. And we can kind of help and serve them along their journey. And then once they move into transaction phase, that we now have this next well-crafted offer that they can say yes to and participate in. Does this make sense? So when we really look at it in this direction, when we talk about defining your services and crafting a well-designed offer for each one of these phases, we can now go invite all these great people and bring them into our world, our little ecosystem, and we can move them through that process very effectively with a great relationship. Now, that is also significantly better for the consumer. On the other side of this equation is homeowners. And so let's start at the top. Is every homeowner on the planet relatively interested in what's the value of their home? But that has nothing to do with that they are a seller lead. So when we've extended this offer through real estate marketing over the last decade, we've said, would you like to know the value of your home? A majority of the homeowners say yes to a simple service. A majority say yes. But what happens there, after they said yes, the delivery mechanisms are a little bit funky, then our misinterpretation that the yes was a lead. And then we put them in 10 days of moronic pain with text messages and emails and drip campaigns. And they're like, I just was interested in the value of my home. You offered, I said yes. And now you put me in some weird experience, okay? So now let's reverse engineer from this new vantage point of, yeah, every homeowner is relatively interested in learning a little bit more about the value of their home, about what prices, what's happening with prices in the neighborhood, or generally speaking, what's just going on with the market. And in their mind, selfishly, the market means, where is my home value and what's the projection of my home value? Selfishly, that's what that means. And that's perfect. Of course, every homeowner has some basic interest in that. Now, my friends, back to you. What is your offer to allow them to do that with? What I introduced 2 years ago was we need to stop delivering snapshots and start offering how to follow the value of their unique home with you. Follow, not snapshot. Because when I get following the value of my home, following the market with me, everybody is interested in that, generally speaking. I can get a lot of top of the funnel yeses. And that's a great way for us to build a homeowner database that people said yes to. And then, but what we had to do is, instead of putting people on 10 days of drip campaigns and pain because they said yes to learning a little bit more about the market value and what's going on in the neighborhood with prices, just because they said yes, we end up cramming down their throats ISA calls and AI text messages and delivering packages to their door in some weird manner. That's not good. What is the middle of the funnel? The selling consultations. What does that offer? What services do you have at that stage? And so we have to define that. And then we have to start to understand that at the consideration phase, which could be 2 years out, could be 1 year out, could be 6 months out. That phase, we need to have a nice value proposition for people that they can then say, hey, yeah, thanks. I've been following the value of my home. I've been following the market with you. And now it seems like I'm ready to take this next step with that offer. You offered me that service. I want to take you up on, and now I'm at the middle of the funnel, right? And then at the middle of the funnel, by the way, so let's just say, hypothetically, I am interested in selling my home 1 year from today. Another thing that we've all missed as a group was we missed what is new service of high value to them. I'm interested in selling. I've conditional things that I've got to deal with. And those conditional things, it may happen in 6 months, it may happen in a year, it might even happen in 18 months. As we all know in real estate, this is just every day. We have a seller all of a sudden is hot and then they're not. And then it swings back 6 months later, and then all of a sudden there's new conditions. And then maybe they move forward, maybe they don't. And then next thing you know, 18 months later, you finally get the listing if you were following along. And yes, we all would love to have that person who's, I'm 100% ready and I'm ready to go within 60 days. And whatever you tell me to do, I'll do it. And let's just get to work and I'll sign any contract that you want 60 days out from this property going on the market. And they just follow through. I would love that. That's just called false reality. I've only been in this business for 25 years and that is not a reality that exists today. It's all kinds of up and down, in and out and all over the place. So, which is why we need to build a bigger top of the funnel relationship, have a well-designed consideration phase consultation and strategy session, and then have a stronger long-term relationship and service and value for those that are kind of 6 months, a year out, 2 years out. And yeah, of course, I have my, do you want to sell your house and list your home with me? And if you didn't have that, we have another problem. The problem is up here, not down there. I have faith that most of you, once you have an opportunity, someone says, I am selling my house, I have faith that you have a pretty decent opportunity, presentation, what to do, how you do it to help them sell the home. That's not the problem at all. The problem is all this stuff is where all the opportunities are being lost right now. And we need to build a much bigger pipeline of that on both sides. I spent a lot of time in this conversation around the consequences, and let's highlight a few of those. What are the consequences of your friends, your clients, your neighbors on the national portals, Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, Realtor.com? Their data is sold, period. That's not fun. Number two, once their data is sold, then they get into the hands of all of our wonderful mega teams in real estate who have incredibly fun mega ISAs and VAs and automated this, that, and the other. And our friends, our clients, our neighbors are now in a tailspin of not just 10 days of moronic pain of text messages, emails, and door knocks. They're in literally 10 years of suffering because they go from one CRM to the next. They go from one new team leader to the next team leader to the next team leader to the next team leader. They go from one mega team software, new update service to the next. And so your clients, your friends, your neighbors get in 10 years of suffering because their data was sold. Consequence number one. Consequence number two. They waste a lot of their time because they don't have a guide guiding them. They don't learn what they really need to learn. If you're just looking at photos, prices, and a map loosely, and you scan the details, you don't learn really anything of significant value. You don't gain that next level of understanding of what product types, lifestyle, community, cost of living, perspective that is really only gained through relationship with a great pro real estate agent. So the consequences, not to us, but to the consumer, is data sold, 10 years of suffering, and or lots of wasted time. We all basically deemed sellers, listings, as the most important thing that we all are supposed to be getting. And when I reverse engineer why the entire industry is so obsessed with sellers and have a negative view of buyers, why is there a negative bias against buyers? And everybody would say the same couple of things. They're not loyal, they take too long, and it requires a lot of time. Okay? But when I reverse engineer the services and the value that we're not delivering, that if we did deliver, All three of those go away. Loyalty happens. The amount of time is not really that much. And you don't have to show them that many homes. A really well-designed consultation actually resolves all of that stuff. A Zoom consultation where you spend an hour, an office consultation where you spend an hour, literally solves almost all of the problems, which is just what we in the industry never did. Everybody that did do it absolutely loves it and raves about it. The industry doesn't really promote it. Thankfully, we had to have a big lawsuit to get a contract, finally to force us to do it. And oh, by the way, many of my clients have made way more money because they finally actually did have a consultation and talk about what they do and how they do with the buyers and got an agreement in place. And actually loyalty and speed and income went up with buyers. Surprise. So consequences. See, the consequences of the lack of loyalty that takes too long was because we didn't do thorough consultation. We didn't look at our tool sets and our strategies and our services and figure out how to help guide those people through those things and to be able to come out the other end in a better experience. The consequences were really negative on us, which created a negative narrative in the industry. And then it was really negative on the consumer because we actually dropped all of our true services and values to them. And we offered them crap service. Define your service, define your consultation, and define that for the research phase buyer, and you resolve all of that. Same thing over on the sell side. So the consequences to a seller who doesn't have a strong, trusted relationship with a professional real estate agent who then gives them clarity to the true value of their home. The consequences to the seller who doesn't have that trusted relationship means that they what? Overprice it, which means that they what? Are in a negative relationship with their real estate agent, which means that now their experience with selling their home is significantly more stressful than it needs to be. And the consequences to the seller when, they can end up selling FSBO, and it's even worse. The consequences to the sellers who make a plan with the valuation of their property here, expecting this additional revenue in the plan that I created. That's a very stressful problem. I made a plan with this revenue in my pocket. So the value of the service of us building a relationship with them on understanding the value of their home, their unique property, and what's going on with the actual listings and sales in their community, and the projection of where market is headed, that value is significant to every homeowner who then starts to move in the direction of the consideration and the planning phase. When you meet with a seller, I said this one time with a seller, they said, we're not gonna sell for another 6 months. And I said, that's no problem. And I said, here's what I wanna do for you. I'm gonna go into my little MLS and I'm gonna spend some time and do a little customization. What I wanna do is I wanna send you one email per week. And inside that email, I'm going to help you to see the active listings come on the market that may have a positive or negative effect on the value of your home. And I'm going to include what goes under contract, and I'm going to include what sells. And there's two things that I need you to start to pay attention to. Number one, what was the pricing strategy of the new listing? Did they go aspirational price? Do you think it was market value? Did they go below? And then what was the outcome of that? Did it go under contract fast? And then when it sells and closes, did it sell for significantly more or less? What was that? Could you, over the next 6 months, just glance and learn a little bit more about this interesting thing called pricing strategy? Number two, I want you to look at how people prepare and present their home prior to putting their home on the market. Did they stage? Was it lightly staged? Did they maybe make some improvements? Did they do a good job with the presentation and the marketing? Did they do a terrible job? Dark photos and ugliness. And then I want you to watch, what were the consequences of that? Is it significant? Is it not significant? Because you'll see, did it go under contract relatively quickly? And then when it sold, what did it sell for? And then what I will do for you is I'm going to check in with you, service defined. I'm going to watch that email. I'm going to look at those under contract, active, and undersold. And when I spot something that I think is really valuable and important for you, what I'll do is I'll send you a little email, I'll send you a little text, and I'll tell you why I think this is important for you. And then at least once a month, we're just going to review it. Let's maybe just get on Zoom. Maybe we'll just have a quick phone call. I'll pull all of it up, take a quick look, and let you know what is important for you to know. And then I said, my goal is that you know the value of your home better than the average real estate agent by the time that we put your home on the market. And you know what the lady said to me? Thank you. That's great. What are we doing? When someone meets with you, does a strategy session, and then they are 6 months to a year out. What I was doing was preventing all of the problems in advance so that they then understood the value. They understood how to prepare the home. They understood every strategy that I would recommend to help them sell their home for the highest possible price. I wanted them to see it live and interactive through the next 6 months. So then when I go, here's what I would recommend to get you the best result, they go, that makes perfect sense now.